Let me begin by admitting that I am an unabashed and proud monarchist. The institution has weathered some severe scandals and controversies over the centuries but survived intact. Opposing familial involvement in World War I and the abdication crisis in the 1930s almost destroyed this nearly 1,000-year-old establishment. Fortunately, the reign of George VI and the unblemished 70-year rule of Queen Elizabeth II were able to restore public confidence and rebuild the reputation of our nation and its system. Our gracious Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, ruled our kingdom for 70 years and hardly ever put a foot wrong. She led with dignity and grace and was revered around the world. The United Kingdom is the envy of many countries, highlighted in the deference shown by other visiting royal families and heads of state. And let's face it, no one puts on the pomp and ceremony as we do in Britain. King Charles ascended the throne in late 2022, sadly under a bit of a cloud thanks to his affair with Camilla Parker Bowles and his divorce from Diana, Princess of Wales. That said, he has worked tirelessly to try and uphold the reputation of the monarchy despite being diagnosed with cancer and now fighting it. He is lucky to have two very able supporters in his sister and his son Prince William, and whose hard work, no-nonsense attitude and dedication to the crown is legendary, and William is a committed, focused and able heir who people feel will make a very good future king. He has also stepped up to the plate and is taking on many of the official duties to allow the king time and space to fight his disease. The future of the monarchy, it would appear, to be in good and capable hands. As if it wasn't enough for a 76-year-old man to assume the enormous task of becoming the sovereign and taking the reins of kingship, he has been plagued by the behavior of members of his family, namely his brother Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and his son Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Andrew was stripped of his Royal Highness title and his military and charitable affiliations by the Queen when he stepped back from royal duties because of his association with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. He has since remained largely out of the spotlight, except for a few spats with the king over his living arrangements at Royal Lodge. Prince Harry, on the other hand, despite insisting that he wants a quiet life away from the media, seems determined to hog the spotlight and do his very best to disrespect and disparage the institution into which he was born and raised and which nurtured and protected him for all those years. Unfortunately, he seems to have an obsession with having been born second and thus the spare and not the heir. During his earlier years, Harry was one of the most popular members of the royal family, second only to the Queen. He was the cheeky and slightly naughty prince, and people loved him for this and for his military service in Afghanistan. They cried for the little boy that walked behind his mother's coffin in September 1997. Harry married Meghan Markle in 2018 and the British public accepted her into their hearts. They were made the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on their wedding day. She was honoured with privileges, many not afforded to previous royal wives, but that was not enough and she began to kick back. In early 2020, the couple decided to step back from their royal duties, strike out on their own and become financially independent. The Crown made it clear, at the Sandringham summit, that they could not be half in half out and they could not use their positions and titles for commercial gain. They agreed and duly set off to begin their new life in California. Since then, they have courted the media to their advantage, given interviews disrespecting their families and continued to use their titles and royal status to help feather their nest. Despite prior agreements, they have continued to use their titles and regal connections for their own ends, even arranging pseudo-royal tours like those to Nigeria and Colombia, much to the embarrassment of the royal family and the British government. Harry has authored a tell-all book revealing some embarrassing secrets. Relations with his father, the king, and elder brother, Prince William, are at an all-time low. This has been going on for nearly 5 years and the damage caused has been devastating. It now seems that the people have had enough. Harry's popularity with the public is in the trash can and Meghan is considered persona non grata. Polls show that most people do not want them to return to the UK. There are moves within the British Parliament and the House of Lords to strip them of their titles, and rightly so. Prince Harry will always remain a prince due to his birthright, but the title Duke of Sussex was a courtesy title bestowed on him by his grandmother the Queen on his wedding day. As a royal duke he is titled His Royal Highness, which he agreed not to use after he stepped back from his duties. Meghan was only titled as Her Royal Highness due to her marriage to Harry. She is not a princess. Princesses are born of the royal blood. The only woman, not of royal birth, titled as a princess is Catherine due to her marriage to the Prince of Wales. I truly believe that the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex should be revoked. These two people are no longer working royals, and those titles were granted as a courtesy upon their wedding day. If given, they can also be taken away. They have continued to use the titles and their His and Her Royal Highness status to help support and promote their commercial ventures, despite an undertaking not to when they left royal service, especially Meghan. They have shown scant regard for any agreements made with the Crown or the feeling and emotions of fellow family members. The Oprah interview was given at a time when Harry's grandfather, Prince Philip, was close to death. Their Netflix series was airing when Her Majesty was seriously ill, and she was also aware of the imminent publication of Harry's dreadful biography Spare. One might have hoped that Harry and Meghan would have at least toned down their rhetoric in 2024 when the King and the Princess of Wales were both battling cancer, but no. They should be stripped of all remnants of royal privilege and recognition and just become Mr. and Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor, and their HRHs should be revoked, especially in Meghan's case. There is a precedent for this. George VI refused to style Wallis Simpson as Her Royal Highness despite her marriage to Edward, an ex-king. Firstly, it would be difficult to revoke in the event of a divorce from Edward VIII, and secondly, she was, like Meghan, a divorcee, and the Church of England did not recognise divorce at the time. She was just known as the Duchess of Windsor or Mrs. Simpson. Certainly, they have done nothing to warrant retaining these titles. Ever since leaving royal service, both have done nothing but trash the royal institution and their family members in what appears to be some sort of sordid vendetta. Much of what they have said has been shown to be pure lies. In true royal style, the family have not commented, never complain, never explain. One really feels for them. It must be so very frustrating not being able to respond. However, the general public is not stupid and sees straight through these lies and is standing firmly behind the monarchy. Even many anti-monarchists are throwing their weight into this dispute because they too are disgusted at this behavior. Why should the tax-paying British public have to support these grifters? Let's hope the government does decide to strip their titles. It takes an act of Parliament to do this. They will then just become has-been celebrities. Without their royal connections, they will lose all relevance and will gradually just fade into obscurity. The working royals can then get on with the jobs in hand, doing what they do so well without any interference and innuendo, and this sordid saga, that has played out over the past 5 years, will eventually fade into history.